हवाले से तुषिता. So I believe that I know her since 2014. 13, 14 कुछ तब से तुषिता को मैं जानती हूँ. And she's amazing. She works in different sectors, social sector, but different positions. So जब मैं उससे मिली थी, I believe that she was ESL teacher. Then she was a life skill facilitator, then employment counselor. Then she works with me with settlement and crisis support worker, then business coach, then mental health trainer, certified stress and wellness consultant, personality dimension specialist. और ये जो मुझे आज तक समझ नहीं आई है, that is certified psychometric. I don't know. मैंने pronounce ठीक किया कि नहीं? So that is something. But today, Tushita is representing Indus Community Services. She works there as project coordinator, and the project is Justice and Freedom Program. So Tushita, we would like to know about this project and the program and the topic we are discussing today. मुझे बिल्कुल नहीं इसका पता. ये टॉपिक मेरे लिए बहुत नया है, सुना बहुत है, but I have no idea. So welcome, Tushita. Thank you
so much for allowing me to be there. Number one, first, let me thank Indus Community Services for. Okay, Uzma, yeah, I just wanted to check. Can you see it in the slide format now? Is it in the slide format?
Yeah, but I'm seeing 2 more slides as well.
Oh, you can see both the slides? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't matter. It's okay, fine.
Okay.
It's in the presentation mode.
Presentation mode. Now you will have to tell me where do I go for this. Okay, let me end the slides to show.
If you could
And
click on the presentation in the bottom of your screen, this is the the 4th button on the right side of bottom of your screen.
Okay, bottom of my screen.
Right side.
Hold on, give me a second. Just give me 1 second.
And may I know who's on the iPhone?
Oh, this is Satpal, Uzma.
Okay, welcome Satpal, welcome Manmeet.
This is on the computer?
Yes, I've just asked. Oh, as usual, ask for my son to help me out.
No, is it on your computer?
Yeah, it's on my computer.
Okay, go on the top, you see slideshow.
Yeah.
Click on that.
I did that, but it's still.
And then you say from the beginning. On the left, you see.
Yeah, I know that. I clicked on that, but it was still showing me 2 more slides.
नहीं, अब तो ठीक है तुषिता.
अब ठीक हो गया. It's okay.
ठीक हो गया?
हाँ?
No, we will see the screen, see the slide on the left-hand side as well.
That's okay, Uncle. That's okay.
No, then that will make a big. Okay, now it's probably bigger. Now it's okay. There's this. The next screen is showing on the right-hand side.
Next
That's okay.
Okay, so can I then shift this one this side?
Does it matter?
No.
Yeah, this is not okay because this is showing your notes as well.
Yeah.
If you could
पहले
go
वाला
back.
ठीक था.
Yeah, if you could go back and
Just 1
click on the
second.
presentation mode, that will be the right mode to present to your viewers.
Oh, no wonder. It's already up here.
Where's it?
No, hold on.
Now she has a helper.
This is the one, right?
Yeah.
This is it?
So many of them are open. It just close off some of them, right?
Why are you so worried?
Yeah, this is the presentation mode. It works fine. If you could go up arrow, press up arrow and go on the first slide.
Oh, yeah. Not come back to should come only from this. Cut, Krishna.
Yes.
Is it coming now?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you so much. Thanks for the patience, guys. And I must thank Malta Women's Council first for giving me this opportunity. And Uzma, you were initially talking about the different roles that I've done. I must admit that when I took up this project coordinator's role in Justice and Freedom Program, I never expected that all that I had done so far in different and the different responsibilities that I had fulfilled, I will actually be applying that into this role. So this program of Justice and Freedom has given me the platform to showcase all my skills that I have used in the different programs. Talking about Justice and Freedom, it's a program which Indus Community Services has, started. It's actually a 3-year project that they started, and they want to. This is a project to help foreign-born at-risk individuals, which means there could be newcomers, there could be refugees, there could be people who've been living here for many years, but who have been born outside the country, which means all immigrants, and to help them, and support them in case they are trafficked. When I say traffic, it is human trafficking. But human trafficking, while we go further into the presentation, you'll see how broad it can be. And so the focus for this particular program is more on exploitation, and exploitation in terms of labor exploitation. Why are we doing this? Because for many years, a lot of other agencies, which is the service providers, they have been working more on sexual exploitation, but no work till now has been done on labor exploitation. We all know Canada is a country of immigrants, and so especially newcomers who come into this country, or people who have also been living here, but they may have some challenges. Maybe they may have some barriers like language barrier, or they may have a status challenge or a status barrier. They may not know what their status is. They may not know how to communicate, or they may not even know that they are being trafficked. And that is why this program was started. This program was started and Indus Community Agents Services. This is the only settlement agency which has been brought into the picture, because in today's world, because of all newcomers coming in, when newcomers come in, why are they coming into the country? They are coming in, they want to settle down as soon as possible, integrate into the Canadian society and start working. But most times what happens is they get exploited. They don't realize that they're getting exploited, they're being abused, and sometimes they continue to stay in this relationship or in the situation for a lot of reasons. We as we go further into the presentation, you'll find how and why. So that's what we're going to talk about. This program has been funded by WAGE, which is women and gender equality. So what their focus is to help that we should develop a toolkit that will initially be tried in Ontario province. And if it is successful, I will tell you why Ontario province. And if it is successful Ontario, they plan to implement the whole thing in Pan Canada, in the sense, try it out, implement in other parts of the country. But first, it is important that we address it in Ontario, and you will see why a little later. So thank you once again for allowing us, Malton Women's Council, to do this piece. Also, spread the word about what human trafficking is all about, and create that awareness amongst people, not only people who are newcomers, but also people in the community, so that they can, if they see something happening which is not I would say if they see some signs of human trafficking happening, they could help us. So the objective of this training is not that today I tell you about human trafficking and tomorrow I expect you to go out in the community and, find out someone who's been trafficked. No, what we are trying to do is we are trying to give you an insight about what human trafficking can actually mean. Because over a period of time, human trafficking has changed, the face of human trafficking has completely changed today. And so the goal of this session is to spread that awareness, help you identify some indicators, find out how human trafficking operates, look at what the challenges which the newcomers are facing. We will have some, I wish I could talk about some examples. I will be sharing some examples with you guys. Talk about what supports that are available in the community, and what you as a community person, what can you do? How can you help individuals who may be possibly trafficked? So before I go further into what human trafficking is, let's try to find out, what do you feel is human trafficking? So I have prepared a set of questions here. These are not questions, these are statements. All I want you to do is, and I want everyone to respond, to say whether it is true or not true. Okay, so if I say human trafficking includes sexual exploitation, forced labor, and domestic servitude, do you think it's true or false? Go ahead, anyone?
Hey, do you want us to speak?
Yes,
Then it is yes.
Yeah, just speak up.
Yeah, it is yes.
This is false. False.
False?
Hmm.
Okay. This is actually true. I'll tell you why a little later. Okay. The next statement: human trafficking is another form of human smuggling.
This is also
True or
false.
false?
It's
That's
true.
also right.
True.
True.
Okay. It is
False.
false, and I will again go further into it. Human trafficking is about abuse, threat, coercion, fraud, deception, and control. If some terms you're not sure of, let me know. I will explain it to you further. But I just want to know, get an understanding. What do you think? Is it about abuse and threat and force, or is it something else?
False.
It could be false in certain situations, but if it is related to question of statement number 1, it could be true.
Okay, but statement number 3, is it true or false?
It's also false.
It is relative.
It is true. Again, I will explain how. In Canada, human trafficking is negligible because of the strong police control.
False.
False.
It is, yeah, you're right. You guys are right. Labor exploitation only happens in industrialized countries and not anywhere else.
False.
False, yeah, true. Traffickers could be in the guise of neighbors, landlords, or employers. True or
That's
false?
right.
True.
You're right. International students are not at risk of human trafficking.
False.
They are one of the most vulnerable set of people. You'll see how. If someone consents to working long hours, it is not considered human trafficking.
True.
Consent.
I know. It's a little tricky question. Yes, this is a trick one. If
It's
someone
relative again.
consent is...
It's in between yes and no.
Yeah, I know. And we will go further and we'll see what it would mean. Okay, I'm just doing a quick, check on this so that we can discuss this further. In some cases, and Uzma, will you just tell me when it is 6:45? So that,
Okay.
yeah. In some cases, a person who is smuggled into a country is at risk of being exploited also. True or
Yeah.
false?
True.
Forced, you're right. Forced marriage and organ selling is another form of human trafficking.
True.
Yes, right.
Yeah, you're right. So quite a few questions you guys were able to, you did have an answer to. But we will go further, and when we are discussing every item, we will see how it is. But before we do that, I just wanted to talk about a little bit more about what are the myths about labor trafficking that most of us have. We think that if someone doesn't say that they have been trafficked, they haven't been trafficked. But the fact is, many victims of human trafficking do not self-identify as having experienced human trafficking for a number of reasons. They could be they may think that they may not even know that they have been trafficked. They may be unfamiliar with what the term means. They may not even be aware of such a thing happening around, and especially in a progressive country like Canada. If someone consents to work overtime or statutory holidays, that is their choice. That's why I know some of you did say that it could be anything, we are not sure, and that is the reason. But let me tell you, consent to work is invalid when obtained through improper means like force, blackmail, or coercion. If suppose I'm a boss, and if I tell Uzma, you have to come and work on Saturday. We'll be having more people coming in, so you'll have to work. And Uzma has already planned her day somewhere else, and she's off that day. But she says, I can't come. So then I tell Uzma, okay, fine. So next time, don't expect me to give you any additional shifts, and possibly you may not even have your job. So Uzma is then now forced to come even if she doesn't want to. So then there is no consent. Here the consent, I mean, Uzma is coming here. Yes, she does need hours. Yes, she does need that money, but she's coming here not out of her consent, but I literally have forced her and arm twisted her into coming into the session. So that's why that is not the appropriate way of asking for consent. If you're being exploited, you should just go back home. We often hear people say that. If you think you are not happy in this country, just go back. But let me tell you, no one in Canada, regardless of their country of origin, can be exploited. Human trafficking is a crime, no matter where the victim's country of origin is, no matter where the person is coming from. It is important to bear this in mind. It is also important to understand what human trafficking is. So human trafficking is a growing challenge in Canada. Yes, it is not only happening in industrialized countries, or we feel that, oh, this is a place which is very progressive, so why should it happen here? Believe me, when I started on this project, I was thinking I had taken up this role, and I was wondering how much will I be able to contribute? I did do my research, but then it wasn't that much. But the more I got into this program, the more I realized that one person is not enough for this. You need more and more people. Yes, Uzma, you have a question here?
Yes, so there is a question on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I heard most times they're exploited, the newcomers, that is. Did you mean some of them are victim of human trafficking?
Oh, yes. It could, again, it depends on the situation. It depends on the circumstance. It depends also on how it is happening and what is happening. But we have seen in general that, and as I go further into this into the session, you will find that you can find human trafficking happening right in your backyard, at the bus stand, at the different retail store. Many of you know that I also work at Walmart. I'm not saying it's only with Walmart, but it is with big organizations. Could be any, again, guys, don't go by name, but I must tell you this, that big organizations, whether it's Walmart, whether it's Amazon, any of these big organizations, it will not be correct on my part to comment on whether they know it or they don't, but I see it happening all the time. And I've been with Walmart for many years now. I have seen that part of it where the exploitation has happened. for me, it was like a regular feature before I came on board on this program. Now I look at it with a different lens. Now I know it is trafficking. That time for me, it was like what you would think, you will see how. So
So
human
Tushita,
trafficking, yeah.
any kind of exploitation comes under this?
Yeah, I will go further into it, and you'll find
Okay.
what all are the different types of exploitation, and how you can how it can be clubbed and what it looks like. Okay, just give me a few more minutes,
Okay, thank
and
you.
it's going to come up. So
Thank
human
you.
trafficking is a growing challenge in Canada, commonly assumed that it is an international problem. Statistics show the prevalence of this issue as a domestic one in our communities that need to be addressed. I often see people ask, and of course, this was my concern too, that are you saying that human trafficking is happening only in Canada and it's not happening in the other nations? No, it's not that. It's just that because these nations have some good processes in place, protocols in place, they are getting noticed and they're getting recorded. Probably in other nations also it's happening. Probably the laws there are not are different. Of course, they would be different from Canada, from the Canadian law. So the reporting, how it is done, how it is looked at, uh, is different. So I will talk about that also. So human trafficking is an unconscionable crime which impacts the vulnerable. Who are vulnerables? Again, I will go further, but just to give you a brief understanding of what vulnerability could mean, anyone who is whose situation is abused or misused by others because of that situation, which what I'm trying to say here is, if I do not have my status papers, if I don't have my papers proper papers with me, or I have finished my residency time, my permit time is over, and I still continue to stay, so then I become vulnerable, because I know if someone comes to know, they will go and report, or people who know my status, they may threaten me and make me do things which I don't want to do. And then they say, if you don't do it, we will go and report it to the police and you will be deported. Whereas I wanted to come here, I wanted to be here because I want to have a good life in Canada. So let's see what happens. So this is particularly important for us, especially since this is a land where there are people who are from different parts of the world. We have immigrants, we have indigenous people. And so it's important that we understand the risks factor. They say that it takes a community to build up, to work towards, supporting people, and especially for a complex subject like human trafficking. Every time I attend meetings, we have what we call appeal service providers committee. There are 62 different organizations who sit on this board, but we are still struggling to find out what is the best way to tackle it. And we always realize that the traffickers are one step ahead of us. So it's a challenge. They are doing wonderful things and working, finding out newer ways. But we are also going, we are quick on understanding how it is. So one of the best ways to help people be aware of this is educate them. So what is human trafficking? I'll just quickly touch on it, just to tell you that the definition has been there from the United Nations. In Canada also, it's been practiced under the criminal code. But to break up the definition of human trafficking, it can be done in three parts. The first part is the act, the second, how you are doing it, and the third, what is the reason why you're doing it. First is, it says it's a recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of persons. What it means is moving people from one place to another. Why you're doing it and how it is being done, because you're being forced into it. It could be forced, it could be fraud, it could be deception, abuse of power. And why? It is to have control over people, the victims, and to exploit them. Uzma asked me whether it could be all forms of exploitation, but I must tell, yes, there are different forms of exploitation, different ways. But what we are focusing here, especially in this workshop, we'll be focusing more on labor exploitation. But there are usually two major forms of exploitation, which is sexual exploitation and forced labor. Besides that, there are other forms of exploitation also. We will have a look at it quickly. Why are we talking about it at this point of time? Are you saying that there was nothing done before this? No, a lot has been done in the past. As you will see, even the government at every level, whether it's federal, provincial, or the regional level, they all have different strategies and different ways of dealing with this. There are rules in place. I won't say rules. There are guidelines in place which we are to follow, and you will find that each one overlaps the other, whether it's the federal, the provincial, or the regional one. But it continues to be changing, and we need to be changing because traffickers are changing their ways of trafficking. Human trafficking is a very serious criminal offense, and there are serious penalties. But guys, I must tell you here that we have legislations in place. We have what is known as the Protection of Community Exploitation. It's a bill. It's a big one. So we call it Bill C-36. We have IRPA, Immigration Refugee Protection. We have Anti-Human Trafficking, which is almost latest 2021. But you will find that at every place, it only looks at only one aspect of it. So even the legislations that are there, we are presently working with law students, with lawyers, with people, with policymakers to see what the legislation is saying and how many people are getting impacted or how many people are actually being convicted. You will be surprised to know that I'm not able to give you the exact figure, but I can tell you this, that percentage wise, they say it's only about whatever the number, only about 12% people get convicted. So the laws are so open, so easy. There are so many loopholes, and that's exactly what the traffickers are doing. They're taking advantage. So now they have roped in people again from different agencies, other stakeholders, to see where we can tighten those gaps and reduce those gaps and find out ways where legislations are where the legislative piece also takes care of people who are abusing the law. So who are the players and why is it that Indus is involved? They're players from the police, the victim services, rescue center, policymaker, border security, women's support group, children's aid, healthcare, lawyers. You see, there's no one who's left out. Everyone has a role to play. And Indus, yes, Auntie.
Yes, I want to know that this human trafficking is entering the persons illegally to this country.
To answer your question, it is a yes and a no. When you say enter the country illegally, that's where it is human smuggling. I will talk about it and also about the recent case that happened probably I think a month or a couple of months back. I will talk about it. But it is, sometimes it's not that people enter the country illegally all the time, that they want to enter the country illegally. Sometimes they come in with their papers, but the moment they land, their employers or the people who have brought them here, they take away their documents. So then now they become, because they don't have any papers, they don't have any proof, if I bring in Uzma from, say, Pakistan, and her parents have known me, so they have sent her with me. And once she lands here, I take away her papers and I put her in one of the places where there are probably in the same house, there are 20 other women. And I tell her, you will have to do what I asked you to do. If you don't, I will report you to the police and they will take you. And then they will not only deport you, your family will be in trouble. So I am not only threatening her here, I am also bringing her family into the picture. So Uzma loves her family so much, she's willing to do anything. Her parents have pawned everything in the village to send her here.
Yeah.
Many of the cases, children come here, parents have pawned their land, their ornaments, just to send the first kid, thinking after the first kid goes there, he or she will bring in the other brothers and sisters, help them come here. But the first one itself is landing in trouble. And that's where all the problem starts. Have I answered your question, Auntie?
Okay, thank you.
So how is Indus involved? Indus is involved, like I mentioned, in the 3-year project. We are talking in terms of 3-year project because we do not know how much time it will take for the effect to show. But we are hoping that we can develop the toolkit and the resources and raise that awareness through info sessions like these, and provide the wraparound support, settlement support, and that's how Indus has come into picture. Indus is the only settlement agency which has been roped in to help the other service providers like the police, the shelter people, the children's aid people, to provide that support, because at the end of the day, foreign-born individuals are all coming. Usually, they come into this country as immigrants to settle in this country. If we cannot help them settle in, then we are making way for the traffickers to abuse these people. Okay. Again, I always go by numbers, so I'll just give you a few numbers. But mind you, these numbers that you see on the screen now, they are more related to sexual exploitation. Like I said, there is not much done in labor exploitation, and that's why there is so much of underreporting, and that's why I'll quickly just go through this. Human trafficking incidents have increased by 44% since 2019. Can you imagine, with pandemic, where things were not normal, how much more it has gone up? This figure I'm giving you is a 2019 figure. It has gone up so much that we are not even able to, point our fingers towards, okay, this is the figure. About 1 in 3 human trafficking incidents involve other crime also. In Ontario, it is the highest in the whole of Canada. 62% of human trafficking happens only in Canada, and in Ontario. And when I say Ontario, the belt, unfortunately, remains, they call it the 401 triangle, sometimes the 401, or they call it the 401 triangle, which could be Windsor, Brampton, Mississauga, Toronto, and another place on the east. So it's a triangle. Most times it is happening. A lot of human trafficking also happens through these, temporary workers program that are there, the seasonal agriculture workers, the caregiving programs. These programs were actually made to help people come into the country, to provide the support that people living in this country need, but it has been misused, and now it has become a way for traffickers to bring in and exploit people. Also, that over the past 6 years, police reported cases of human trafficking has increased by 200% past 6 years, but I'm excluding 2020 and 2021. So this figure will change completely, because now we do not have any ways to find out. That's why. Okay, quickly, I'll just I don't want to go into the detail, but I just brought this picture because the International Labour Organization, which is one of the biggest bodies, they also agree that sexual exploitation, can you see how high it is here? The next highest is labor exploitation, agriculture, and then domestic work. And if you see nation-wise, you will find the European nations and Asia Pacific. We all know it is very, very prevalent, but it doesn't leave out any of the other places. Different forms of exploitation. This is where I'll answer Uzma's question. Labor exploitation, it can, again, what it is, we know it is by fraud or coercion. And it happens in a lot of industries, agriculture, construction, restaurant. Next time you're going into a restaurant, please think what's happening. You never know, the person who's serving you is being exploited. Manufacturing, salons, spas, we all go for our nails. Food processing, it's come up in a huge way, especially during this pandemic. A lot of people are doing the food services, food certification, and it is, and the government is, subsidizing those programs, but people don't realize it. With those certificates, even when they go to work, they are being exploited. When they're exploited, it could be longer hours or non-payment of wages, or given, less than minimum wages. It could be anything. Sexual coercion, we know what it is. Fraud, it could be identity theft. Domestic servitude, it's again in a huge way, especially in the GTA area. We have a lot of South Asian guys. Don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against any of the cities, but a lot of South Asians are being brought in and they are being exploited. Drug trafficking, child pornography, forced marriage, money laundering, all these are different forms of exploitation. Child pornography, again, our kids are in school nowadays with COVID. Most of the times they are online. Guys, when you send your kids to school, your responsibility doesn't end there. You do not know what website the child has opened up. Please follow. Please ask questions. You don't have to be hovering over them, but if you find something which is away from the normal, please talk to the kids, because they are the most vulnerable. In sexual exploitation, I will talk about it, but we see as small as 12, 13 years old. They are the most vulnerable, and they are the fastest recruited people into sex trafficking. It is important to recognize that individuals may be simultaneously trafficked into any of this. I'm going to talk not much about sex trafficking, because there are other agencies which do it, but I will just quickly touch on the fact that sex trafficking involves, like labor trafficking, forced deception, everything. Human trafficking, this is very interesting, so I thought I'll just bring it to your notice. Human trafficking is so widespread in Canada that every town that has a highway is also trafficking. Remember that. And there are certain myths about trafficking. I can talk for hours together on this, but I'll just touch on, so the victim knew that they were getting what they were getting into. It's not always true. Victims are paid for their services, they say, but yes, sometimes they are, it's like, there was one victim, when we were listening to it, she said that it was like getting raped 1,000,000 times a day. So even if they're paid for the service, it's not the right thing. Freedom of movement, they can go anywhere. There is no freedom. You will be surprised when you see, if you see some of the videos on sex trafficking, you will find how restricted their movement is. They say Canadian citizens can't be trafficked. They are quite vulnerable. Just give me a minute, okay? It is not trafficking when the trafficker and victim are related or married. This is huge. I want to talk on this just for a minute. to say that if you're married, it doesn't give right to either of the partners to traffic. If you're abusing, you are trafficking. Whether you know, whether you realize, you don't, it cannot be. Yes, Sari.
Yes, I think it's interesting too that all the movies that you see on human trafficking, whether it be like with women or even children, all these movies, they're actually true stories. So it's like just so shocking and so horrific to watch even, but the fact that they're true is just like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
I'm glad you mentioned that they're movies, but there are certain movies like Taken and all. It's not what is happening in real life. It's very, very complex, and the traffickers act on it in a very subtle manner. Now we have so many refugees coming in, whether it's from Ukraine or Afghanistan or any of these places. What we get to see how people are praying, just waiting for people to step out of the airport, and these guys are there. So we are trying to handle that. Yes, Uzma.
It's a time to remind you.
45. Okay, thank you so much. 47. I'll just quickly touch on this two fact. Okay, I can skip this. This is something when I can do later on. I want to touch on human smuggling and trafficking. They are completely two different things. In human, in recent times, there was this family. You must have heard in news that a family of 4 were found frozen near the border, US-Canada border. That's smuggling. Now, what happens is smuggling. If I want to come to Canada, say from any other part of the world, and I, for whatever reason, I may not have the money, not have the papers or something, I may, get hold of someone through some other person, and they tell me that they will take me to Canada, but not through the proper channels, but through some other means. They'll help me land in that place, and they will do that at a cost. I have to pay for that. That's exactly happened to this family of 4. They were from India, and for each one, I understand they had paid in, if I talk in INR, 75 lakhs for each of those people. What happens is once, and they could be brought by boat, ship, any other means, illegal means, and then they are allowed to enter the country through illegal means. So when they enter the country, their existence is not known. But if I suppose Uzma says that I still want to go to Canada, I want to live there, and I tell her that okay, fine, I'll do it for you. This is the amount that you'll pay me, and so I bring her in. Things go okay, then it's fine. I say okay, Uzma tells me that she wants to come to Canada. I chalk out the route for her. I bring her in, and then she pays me the money. So my relationship with her ends there. That's smuggling. But most times what we have seen is, though the smuggling relationship ends there, I still have, I will probably ask Uzma, okay, so what do you plan to do now? Now that you're into this country, you still have to fend for yourself. You have to have food. What will you do? So she says, yeah, even I don't know anyone here, and she doesn't have papers. Remember that. So I tell her, okay, you know what? I know someone here who can help you, who will pay you cash and you can work. So I take her to one of the traffickers, put her in a place where she is with other women coming from her background. And I tell her that, okay, he's going to provide you the food, but you have to do what this guy tells you. And this guy forces you into other forms of exploitation. Could be sexual, could be labor. So again, human smuggling leading to human trafficking. Whereas what happens in trafficking is if I'm trafficking Uzma in the same manner, forcing her, she comes to this country and then I take away all her passport, all her papers, and then do it. Guy, I know there's someone on iPhone with a hand up. Just give me a minute. Just let me finish and then I'll take your question. So what happens is this person is, so I start exploiting Uzma. Whether I do it or someone else does it, we all have a hand in it. And it's possible that a crime may start as human smuggling, but it can quickly turn to human trafficking. Yes, I will now take the other person's message. Yes, go ahead. Any question?
Yeah, hi Tushita, this is Sapal. Thanks for taking my question. My question is thanks for sharing this information around human trafficking and smuggling, etc. I want to understand what's Indus' role for rehabilitating or taking care of such people who are found being human trafficked.
I will be doing that. I'll be going at the end and then I'll talk about it. Okay.
Okay,
Just bear with me. I just want to quickly take you guys through this. Okay, so we have a national helpline hotline for human trafficking. Anyone 24/7, or this is the email ID. You can just call them. I mean, just send them a mail. But most times we have seen that the victim or the survivor is not able to, could be for whatever reason. If I have brought in Uzma, she is, and I tell her that, you know what, if you don't do what I ask you to do, I will tell your family what all you are doing. Uzma comes in as an international student, and I have been here. We get into a relationship with or without, in a friendship, and then I introduced her to some friends of mine, and I tell Uzma, just go and just, you know, serve them, just help them, just do it for my sake. Uzma may think that she's in love with me, but I am actually using her and selling her, and that's how we have people like pimps. And I'm not going there, but I could also make her do things in the in labor exploiting. I could be the landlord and Uzma stays with me. In this pandemic, she used to work for 20 hours. Sorry, she used to work for 20 hours, and now I have now she cannot because of the pandemic. She's lost the job. So I, as a landlord, tell her that, okay, fine, you don't have to pay the rent. I am excusing you, but you will have to do something for me. And then I start abusing her. Could be, it could be sexual abuse, or it could be even labor abuse. I can tell her, okay, go to my, my family store and help out. I make her work for 12 to 14 hours a day and I don't pay her. She feels she's obligated towards me because I'm allowing her to stay free of cost. She continues to work. But sometimes if I do pay her also, I am not giving her money. So these are some, I just found this very interesting. So there are some ways of spotting labor exploitation. You can see this some places, but I want to touch more on what industries. Now, this is not an exhaustive list. This is just a short list where you see labor trafficking happening all the time. Caregiving, food industry, hospitality, construction in a huge way. I have a friend in Barry who is in the construction thing, and I often tell him, and he works on the a lot of important places, and I tell him, do you have look at their these workers who are coming from, say, the Caribbean and the Mexican places? He says, why would I do that? I have these people working. I just want my project getting over. And so, like, over a period of time, I had to literally explain to him that, hey, listen, many of them may not have proper records and their employer is abusing them. Factories, agriculture, cosmetology, a lot of time you'll find this happening.
What is there in cosmetology for?
It could be nail and spa also. It could be makeup industry. It could be what are these places called, Uzma? Where they have
Spa.
It could be spa. It could be also be related places like spa.
Yeah, there are many women I know. They are from India. They don't have a certification here.
Yeah.
And they are working 12 hours on weekends and less than half of minimum wages.
Yeah. So
And-
yes, it could happen at any of these places. I'm going to touch on, this one I would like to touch on, that despite the fact that so much is being done, you will still find that almost two-thirds, Ontario is the hub of human trafficking, with approximately two-thirds of all police reported human trafficking in Canada. That too, it is being reported because it's sex trafficking. Other forms of exploitation are not even, no one is talking about it. Why is it so underreported? Could be for any reason, could be for vulnerable situation. Like I said, your Uzma's family has known me, so I brought her, so they feel that she's in safe hand, not knowing that I'm abusing her here. Financial situation, not knowing, again, not having the money. COVID is a good example. Mistrust of authority. I keep, digging it into Uzma that anytime you do anything, report it, you go out, I will tell the police first thing that your papers are not correct. They don't even have records that you've come into the country. So we have, as settlement agency, we have a lot of, sometimes we do have, not a lot, but we do have clients who come to us saying we don't even know where our papers are. So sometimes people don't even know the language. That's again another communication barrier. Fear of deportation, precarious immigration status, again, threat, actual violence happening. It can go on and on. Okay, I am at 57. Guys, I know there's a hand up. Will you just hold on for probably for 5 minutes, just let me finish a few of those slides so that then I'll take in questions. So who are people who are non-status people? People who are visitors, who have overstayed, rejected refugees, temporary foreign workers, international students who are no longer in school, sponsorships where there is a breakdown in sponsorship. That can be, those people are non-status people, and they are very vulnerable. You'll be surprised that, big organizations also, like I mentioned, whether it's Amazon has this amazing, work, this thing that you work for 4 days, 12 hours a day, and then, you are being treated as full-time. But look at the condition, look at the work condition, look at what they're getting paid. So they are there. Then there are people in Walmart, I know. So there are cleaning companies who are cleaning up places in the malls or big stores, and they have all these international students or new immigrants. So a different book is being maintained. So the people who are getting paid are different from the ones who are actually doing the work. Those people who are, I often, when I would pay, if there was something which is a spillover, I would keep on paging for so-and-so team, the cleaning team, to come and clean up aisle number so-and-so. And most times they wouldn't come, and I would do most closings. What is happening is those people, whoever the cleaners are, when I say cleaners, they are most of them are international students. They are sleeping. Why? Because they are on a 14-hour, 16-hour, and so one of them, I just asked her, so are you getting paid? Yeah, I get paid, I get cash. So I said, what's the rate? And then, they hesitate. So I know that sometimes the rate is as low as $5 or $8, not even $8. Some features, again, this is exploitation. Something I want you guys to remember, I would like to go on to, so there are certain barriers that people have. They have a fear of the unknown, fear of retaliation, fear of shame, guilt, people judging them, hopelessness, sometimes it's language barrier. I want to focus on this one. If you come across someone who's trafficked, what are the do's and don'ts? Our usual tendency, our knee-jerk reaction is usually, if we see anyone getting trafficked, call 911. that is not always the solution. 911, if you call, the trafficker becomes alert, and then the traffic person, the victim, is more at risk. Don't do that. What instead you can do is listen empathetically. If they're willing to open up, believe in them, be aware of your own biases. Sometimes we have our biases too, right? Because we come from different, and there's nothing wrong in it, but just being aware of it and then looking at it. I remember doing just month of February, we had this human trafficking awareness month at Indus. And so we were doing some programs on with PCHS TV. And so the question asked, they said that human trafficking cannot happen to our kids. Why? Because it happens only to bad girls or boys. There is nothing bad in this. It can happen to anyone, anytime, anywhere. Like I said, it happens at the bus stand, at restaurant, at big retail places. And there are different ways these traffickers are just taking people with them. Most of it we've seen is when there's a breakdown in communication. So all I would suggest is keep your communication doors open with people around you, make them aware. Sometimes doing the do's is good, sometimes not doing. You shouldn't be doing things like saying that, okay, let's bash up the abuser, or let's report it to the police. Sometimes we think in terms of religion, ethnicity, race, age. Stay away from that. Building up a relationship with people around. If you find someone is getting trafficked, if you feel there's a possibility of being trafficked, someone is, and I'm not saying every case of domestic servitude is abuse. Sometimes they are genuine cases, but if you come across something, build up a rapport or just let us know. You could reach us at any of, you can just call up Uzma and let her know, or just call up Indus, ask for me, Tushita. We are there because we have been trained in trying to interact with such people, because most times we have seen people don't open up easily. We have lots of other examples. I wish I could do more, but I know the time has come to an end. I know there's one hand up. If you have any further questions, please go ahead and ask. So I'm going to put an end to it, but our main intention is to raise an awareness and encourage people to talk about it. That's more important. Anyone? Yes, go ahead, ask question. Yes, Madan Uncle. Are you muted, Uncle?
No. Can you hear me now? No. Just 1 second. Okay.
अंकल आपकी आवाज कट रही है.
Can you hear me?
It's not clear. You can put in the chat.
Yeah, you can put the question in the chat box also.
So meanwhile, I'll say thanks to Tushita from Satpal. She was here and she really liked to have this presentation. And I said that I don't know, because this is from Indus, whether we can share it or no. With her.
Yeah, I can't share, but I can certainly give you information if you want, yes, on any particular topic. If there is anything that you would like me to further talk on, I can always do that. But yes, like you said, it is an Indus thing. So yes, Irene.
Well, I just wanted to add to that. It's not only just professionals involved in human trafficking. It could even be beggars or people you see that are even on the street or don't have anything. It could be somebody who is, being used in other ways too, and being forced to do things that are also human trafficking too. So it's not necessarily that they have a job even. But there is definitely force in there as well. Yeah,
absolutely right. We have seen that trend going up, especially Don't mind my saying it, but I see that often in not only in Brampton area, but also downtown area. And we see that it is now getting more and more organized. It's like, I am coming and sitting at that intersection from so and so to so and so hour, and then I will be sitting with a child, and then whatever I'm earning, it's going back. I'm being paid part of it. Yes, we are aware that is there. It's almost like a syndicate that's working there. Yes.
Yeah, and also, people usually say love or arranged marriage, but I think there's even forced marriage as well, where there's somebody's young or they're not given a choice, or somehow blackmail or coercion or something is involved to
Absolutely.
get people married. I think that's not appropriate to. I think people should use that term too, forced marriage, because even if it's an arranged marriage, it could be done by consent too. But
Not could be, many a times.
Yeah,
we've noticed that.
Yeah.
You are so right. Yes, thank you, Sarin, for bringing it up. Forced marriage, yes, we know that they're in a big way. But like I said, this fund is focusing more on labor trafficking. Sometimes we treat, forced marriage, the partners are being treated as human labor. They're made to do everything in the house. We have had cases not only in Canada, also in places like US and all. So yes, we are aware and work is happening in these areas. But yes, forced marriage is another form of exploitation.
Tushita, thank you so much for this presentation, because my understanding was that it's only related to sex trafficking.
Yeah, thank you so much, Uzma. That's why I said, there are different forms of labor trafficking. I also often hear people talk about it. If you go to the Niagara area, you will find beautiful wineries there. And that is again one region like Barrie. That area is more construction exploitation, but wineries, it's more agriculture exploitation. The people who are working, they all come on the temporary workers pass, and you should see their living conditions. So next time you are visiting the Niagara area and you see beautiful wineries, it is not the wineries which are beautiful. There is a lot of exploitation going on there also.
So
yeah.
Tushita, I have another question. Many organizations and big superstores, they hire only part-time. Is this kind of exploitation as
Absolutely. Well? Absolutely. I can again, guys, don't quote me and don't take it otherwise, but I can give you live example because I've worked there, so I've seen it. So what happens is, in Walmart, again, they are encouraging part-time people. They're taking in students, because every time they hire a student or a newcomer or a new person, they get $2,000. And so these people come in, they make them work for longer hours. So payment wise, yes, they're not allowed to. But if you probably see the hours that they put in or the type of work that they're being given, sometimes these people work for 2 months, 3 months, then they find it so exhausting. I had one of my first referral cases. He came in on work permit as a chef, international chef, doing very well. He came to Canada, wanted a good life, so he came in on contract. On work permit, with during COVID time, with all interview, everything happening the way it should. And the first day he's taken and he is made to take those boxes of shrimps and potatoes and stuff like that. He was not 10 days old in this country, and he was referred because he started suffering with back pain and all. So he said, I came here as a chef. I was interviewed for a chef position. What am I doing here? And then they said, and again, work permit, no papers were taken from him. Luckily, he had his papers with him. But what I'm saying, even for educated people who are here, they are aware, but they don't want to talk about it because he's on a work permit. He needs to stay with that employer. Does the HR know? So I suggested, I said, does the HR, have you got in touch with them? So what I'm trying to say here is, sometimes my hand as a newcomer or someone who wants to settle in this country, my hands are tied because I want to get in my family. So I will do anything. If I have to go through that for a year, I will go through it. But that's where exploitation is happening. Sorry. Anyone else has any question? Yes, Irina. You anyone? Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, for people that do, like, are the ones that are doing the human trafficking, what are the punishments for that? And what kind of proof do you need in that case if you're a victim? Is agency always the best resort? I'm wondering, like, I'm just wondering, like, what are the things you can do and can be done about?
Remember at the beginning of the presentation, I was talking about the conviction part of it. So there are legislations in place. They are working it out. But like I said, you know, the face of human trafficking has been changing so much. And so that's why it's important that we, you know, we address it and nip it in the bud. So that's happening, but not always. Guys, I'm going to end now because I know it's time. And I hope, Uzma, I'll just take your last question and that's it. If you have any more questions, feel free, ask Uzma, let me know. You have my email ID. Please feel free or just call me.
It's a situation. I have two clients. They work in desi stores, desi restaurants. They were daily wages. 35 years that person was working there. And his shoulder is totally gone now because of cooking and things. And they said, sorry, we can't do anything. Because, and the other person, because he was keep on frying things like samosas and things, he has problem with his
throat.
Kind of, yes.
Yeah.
Lungs, not just throat, lungs. And they say, sorry.
Similar cases with the agricultural people, because they are working with, you know, they have to constantly pull out those weeds and all. So many of them get hurt. We have cases where and actually the government has allotted money for their medication, for medical stuff, but the employees don't take it. They take the funds, but they don't take it. We've had cases where, you know, there is a certain percentage of people, and it's a huge percentage of people who are actually sent back once they are not well.
Many seniors, they go to corns field.
Yeah.
And their hands are,
I understand that.
So Tushita, thank you so much. We started this community connection on every fifth Friday. So next will be in July, September, December. And we are inviting agencies.
Okay.
Tell about the things. And if you have more to share from your organization, just let me know.
Certainly, I will. There are other programs also similar to this, and some which are a little different for the youth, for the general public. We will be doing that.
Yeah,
Sarina, I'm sorry about it. I may take care of this thing later on.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Please, you know, bear with me.
I'm clapping.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for giving me an opportunity and giving Indus an opportunity to present this. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Tushita.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you, Lintuji.